Good evening and welcome back to the BSC Round 4 live from Circuit in the Americas. I am James Parfitt and I'm going to be joined in the booth by Kenton Sportak tonight for what plans to be an interesting race here at COTA. Current track length 3.426 miles, 5.513 kilometers, 20 turns currently. Now, before I go into some details about this track, Kenton has been on a hunt this week for some useful information regarding COTA, and I think on that note, we will bring Kenton into the booth. Good evening, young sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, hunting away and trying to find what I can for this track, and yeah, having a grand old time in apparently very balmy Circuit of the Americas right now.
Okay, so after last week at Dover, with Alex Witt taking the win, Josh McGuigan second, and Daniel Michael third, we come to a street circuit. Now, what interesting things can you tell us about COTA? Because, you know, you've been filling me up with a lot of useful information before we've started this evening. So why don't you share it to everybody at home?
For sure. Well, I mean, yeah, we talked about it. It is going to be 25 laps here, so a nice little road course. It is very interesting on how this track was built. It was put together almost a few recreations of different F1 tracks throughout the calendar. So the S's section kind of supposed to be their recreation of the Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapels section. You've got after your long straightaway heading into turn 12 there, you get your kind of stadium section of Hockenheim. You have the kind of sort of S section right after that, supposed to be similar-ish to the Senna S's in Brazil. A lot of kind of little bits and pieces that have been taken from other tracks to put onto this one to kind of give it a very good feel. And from their first F1 race here, I know a lot of drivers were actually quite excited about it and enjoyed it a lot. I know Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton both praised it. So it is definitely a very interesting track. And then your turn 20, which is the last corner up this straightaway we're looking at right here, is about an 11% grade climb with a 130 feet of total elevation going from start-finish line to the actual apex of that corner there. So it's a very interesting track with a lot of nuances and some interesting little tidbits about it that kind of make it its own thing.
So are we saying then this track is built on lots of other different circuits all put together to produce COTA?
I'd say close to, yeah. I think there's 3 or 4 different tracks they've borrowed kind of corners sort of thing from, but at the same time put it together in a way that makes it its own. I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but a former F1 driver did mention, Mark Webber said it was kind of felt like driving similar to other circuits, and it's like that was what their point was. So it was one of those ones where you either really like it or you didn't. So but it seems to be, as it keeps growing in terms of who keeps coming here to race, a lot of people seem to really like it. So it's quite a fun track, and it's a very technical track, especially for these NASCARs, as it is a lot tougher to sort of drive these windy corners in a car that doesn't have a lot of downforce going for it.
But mentioning the events that get held at COTA, we're talking about the current Formula One. Obviously, is held here, the Grand Prix Motorcycle Racing, NASCAR Cup, NASCAR Xfinity, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NASCAR Trans Am all race around COTA. Now, there is 2 different variations of this circuit, the Grand Prix circuit, which is what we're on today, and there's also the National Circuit, which is about 1.1 miles shorter here, and Isley only got 19 turns. Now, the track record of that currently is a 133.5415, and that's set by Jason Bright in a Holden Commodore VF in 2013. Now, what is the track record currently held around the full Grand Prix circuit, Kenton?
The full Grand Prix circuit is held actually by an F1 car. It was Charles Leclerc back in 2019 in the Ferrari SF90. He set a 136.169, which is a little faster than NASCAR has managed to do this. I believe the fastest NASCAR Cup Series time was set last year with a 213.177. So closing in on almost a minute slower, but obviously, like I said, the downforce that F1 cars will produce make it a little easier to navigate some parts of this track.
Yeah, we're currently on a 213.38 set by Daniel Michael. So I'm currently in practice, so that's not bad. We're close to the track record for a NASCAR Cup car overall, but what are we expecting here? Because this is the first time I've ever seen NASCARs on a road circuit, right? I get used to seeing them consistently on an oval, and I think this is the first time I've come here and with them. You know, there's talk about, I did a series the other day that was at Chicago street circuit. Now, NASCAR go there on the weekend of the 1st of July, and that's the first time NASCAR Cup cars are going there. Now, that circuit is just unbelievable. It is two boxes stuck the other side of each other to almost make a figure of 8 with a sliver of gap between them. And how these big burly cars are going to go around Chicago, well, it's either going to be, as somebody explained it to me, they turned around and said, James, you're looking at two things at Chicago with these Cup cars. One, it's going to be the NASCAR's equivalent of Monaco, where everybody just follows each other. Or two, they're going to be bumping into the walls, because I tell you what, there was not one GT3 car, no, mind you, sorry, I'll rephrase that. There was one GT3 car out of a field of 23 that did not have damage on his cars. Now, he was driving around about 3 seconds slower than the leader, but every other car after that had damage because it hits the wall. I can't see cars on road circuits. This is the first time for me, so I'm looking forward to this as well, but I just can't see how it's going to work. Maybe by the end of this, I'm going to be well impressed and sit back and think, oh, actually, they do go round a road circuit, but I'm struggling to see, where you get so used to them turning left and going around an oval, how this is going to work.
It is very interesting. They have a little bit of a different setup to the cars themselves. They're not quite as tapered to, you know, that left-hand turn. They're not geared as much. The tire pressures are going to be much more uniform. Typically, you're going to have a much higher pressure on your right front and right rear when you're driving ovals, so they can withstand a lot more of the beating and last a little longer for you, comparatively to your left side, which, because you're leaning onto that side, you want to make it a little softer to allow better grip on your left-hand side. So the biggest change will be obviously the tire pressures. In itself, it is a lot longer per lap than they're definitely going to be used to. Obviously with Dover, I think we were doing like 23-second laps and stuff like that. You're not pulling a 23-second lap around COTA here. So I think the biggest thing for them is going to be just kind of focusing on consistency through their laps. From what I've kind of looked into this, like, you're hitting 5th gear in these Cup cars once throughout the entirety of this lap, and that's the big straightaway from turn 11 to turn 12, after you've done sort of the S's and then that hairpin. So it does get a little more interesting. It definitely makes the driver to utilize and remember how to turn right for a bit. There's a couple of those turns in there, which, you know, if they're not used to, could throw them a little while. But traction is going to be the biggest thing, and just trying to keep your car with you instead of trying to get ahead of yourself in them, because your braking points are very different in this than if you've driven any form of, I know obviously from the European end of things, from watching F1 races, your braking points for these cars is probably about 4-ish car lengths back from where you'd see an F1 car brake for like a hairpin and stuff like that, and you can go very deep on these. I mean, you can also go really wide on a lot of these turns compared to F1 cars. I know with the exception of the S's, pretty much if it's paved, you can drive on it for most of the track. Going through the S's, I believe you have to have all four tires go completely off the red and white stripe. So they can stay, you can drive with your two left tires completely off on it to the inside, but your other two have to stay on. So it does get a little interesting, obviously, with the little yellow curves on a good chunk of the S's section. It's not nearly as easy to do with those little sausage curves, but yeah, it's a lot slower through those S's than anyone who's watched F1. But it's still manageable, as we just kind of watched Noah Hanna going through there. It's definitely doable, but it's a lot slower.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Ryan O'Connor's in YouTube. This track is a perfect course for cup cars. Maybe he's right. Maybe we're going to see some epic action. I don't know. As I say, this is the first time I've ever been here in a cup car. To be honest, this is probably the first time I've done cup cars around a road course. And I've done lots of broadcasts over the last 18 months. And I think this is literally the first time I've done a cup car on a road circuit. So, but then again, I suppose next week or later on Wednesday, I'm taking a W12 round Bathurst, and that's the first time I've done that as well. So that's going to be interesting to see a Mercedes W12 route around Bathurst, and Brian will know what I'm talking about. And I think that's going to be an interesting one as well. So maybe we will see epic racing. Maybe this circuit is going to completely surprise us. Now, there's a big change this week being in regards to safety cars, isn't there? You know, Armand's come out and has turned round and told us we're not doing safety cars, it'll be localized yellows only. Massive difference for these drivers compared to the yellow safety cars that we get on ovals.
Yeah, it's obviously it'll save a lot of time for the race itself. But yeah, you're getting a chance to sort of have to slow down, but if you're not involved in it, it doesn't affect your time as much, and it gives people time to kind of get out of the way or avoid crashes a little easier. It shouldn't be as kind of, I guess, clumped up throughout the field as it would be if it was an oval, so it does allow it to kind of continue a little smoother. I think that we're expecting just the one actual full safety car, and that's for the stage and at lap, I believe, 10. 10, yeah. And yeah, outside of that, there shouldn't be, unless, you know, the whole field gets sort of taken out, and we absolutely need to. But it kind of allows a little different thing for a lot of these NASCAR drivers. So
yeah, I think these are gonna be. Well, I think there's got to be some adaptation here from these guys as we are on board with Calvin Ross, who is currently going around turn 11, ready for that run down into 12. Alex Witt is currently on pole on a 2:14.48. Daniel Michael behind him on a 2:14.8. And then Noel Hanna on a 2:15.47. So almost a complete second back. And yes, Ryan O'Connor, us league guys are getting nutty with our schedules as they're sending a W12 through the mountains of Bathurst. Wow, that's just going to be crazy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, takes place tomorrow night. So if you are about tomorrow night, round about 8:45 Eastern, you can enjoy the Mercedes W12s going round Bathurst. And I'm looking forward to that because I want to see how many survive the mounted section at Bathurst in a W12. Being that every other car goes light, and I'd love to see what the W12 is going to do. So I think that's going to be an absolute barnstorming race. So tune in for that one, guys. That's one of two races taking place on the JPB YouTube channel. Tomorrow night, we've got SK Modified Series from Five Flags Speedway. That's going off with the Simability guys there. And then we've got the LSRL F1 Round 4 from Bathurst taking place tomorrow night as well. So there's a lot of action coming up on the JPB YouTube channel. So don't forget, guys, subscribe, turn on the bells, and give the video a big old thumbs up because that'd be absolutely amazing. And if you do have any comments or anything like that, you can drop them down at the end of the broadcast, and we will answer them. So we go on board with Kevin Coleman, who's currently sitting down round about 16th currently at the moment. No time on the board for Kevin, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. But Sawyer Gara is in 8th. He's just going a little bit quicker than he has done previously. But we'll stay on board with Coleman and see how he gets on when he goes across the line. I think it's going to be an interesting one here tonight, Kenton, and one that I'm, oddly enough, quite looking forward to be fair.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race all in all. It's seeing Cup cars driving around COTA is definitely new for me. I hadn't even actually watched the IRL NASCAR at COTA until the other day, so it's definitely an odd thing to witness, but definitely was quite exciting because it just brings a whole new sort of area for the NASCAR drivers, and having to be able to do road races is one thing. I know like a lot of them do. I believe Sonoma is another pretty popular road race. There's a few on the schedule that most will do, and most will not hit the sausage curbs like we're doing here. But hey, if it works for you, it works for you. That's the beauty of the S section, is you can take any line you want to, really, and as long as it works, that's all you need. But COTA is such a unique road course for NASCAR that I think it's definitely a very warm and welcome change. I know the very first year they ran it in IRL was rained out, so it was shortened because of it. So they've only had a couple of years of 2 years of the 3 that have been really in good racing sort of thing, without having rain delays and stuff. So, but it'll be interesting. I think this will be a lot of fun. These guys are gonna have to really focus on warming up tires, which is usually pretty easy to do in an oval. One or two laps, you're good. Here it's not even going to take you a full lap, but it's making sure you're not trying to whip through the S's section and head towards the hairpin on cold tires, and then hoping you can stick to it, because, like we said, the overall downforce on this track is not going to be there for a lot of them.
Absolutely. So here is the grid for tonight's race. We've got Alex Witt in first, Noel Hanna second, Daniel Michael third, Andrew Jamalin in fourth. Sorry if I've just said that wrong. Sean Britton fifth, Ricardo Bennell in sixth, Trevor Haley seventh, Jordan Malcolm eighth, Christian Strado ninth, Craig Rowe 10th, Dustin Hicks 11th, and Sawyer Gara down in 12th place. Then beyond that, we've got Calvin Ross in 13th, Cody Kern 14th, Andrew Almquist 15th, Armand Brusso 16th, Kevin Coleman 17th, Derek Spainauer, he's here, he's down in 18th place, Brendan McLaughlin 19th, Gregory Sherman in 20th, Michael McElroy 21st, and Zach Scarry in 22nd place. 22 cars whizzing around COTA. What more can you ask for this evening? Do not go anywhere. Sit back, grab your drinks, and relax, because this is going to be absolutely epic. We have got probably about a quarter of a lap of a pace lap taking place. Woohoo! Go Terry, says Lydia. Welcome in, Lydia. As always, thank you so much for joining us, becoming like a little celebrity fan. It's amazing. We will have stage 1 will be at lap 10, and then we're going to have a 15-lap sprint to the end of the race. So stay ready, because this is going to be absolutely amazing. For the first of 3 road circuits here on this calendar, we will have Sonoma and Watkins Glen taking place this season. Every other one after that is an oval. We do have night races coming up in Nashville next week and Charlotte Oval on the 21st. Now, if you're wondering why we haven't gone 7th, 14, 21, is because the 14th is, of course, Valentine's Day. So we don't want to take these young gentlemen and ladies away from their prospective partners on Valentine's Day, because I know pretty much mine would probably end up with me sleeping on the sofa for about a month. So I'm not going to be doing broadcasting on Valentine's Day, and neither are we expecting these guys to drive on Valentine's Day. So we are going from the 7th to Nashville straight to the 21st, which is going to be Charlotte Oval. And then after that, we go to the second road course of the season, which is at Sonoma. So stay tuned, because this is going to be, well, somewhat epic here, I think, for us up in the booth and for these big, burly, gruffing NASCAR's Cup Series here for the BSC broadcast live on the JPB YouTube channel with myself, James Parfitt, Kenton Sportak, about to bring you all the action. And we're just waiting for the wonderful pace car to go off. And then we are going to be ready to go here for 25 laps of what plans to be incredible, I think is going to be the only word. The pace car will peel off now. Alex Witt will become effectively the pace car. Here we go. So he goes around the final corner, round turn 20. Now in hindsight, there's no restart zone here. So he can literally, I suppose from his point of view, bolt when he feels it. He's going to have everybody stacked up. Oh, there's a big old, here we go. There we go, he is gone. This is going to be interesting as they're running. Get ready for tonight, guys, because it's going to be epic, and it's Alex Witt through turn one without any issues at the moment. Oh, okay.
Whoop.
Whoop, him and no Hannah. That was Hannah going off as well. And just as I say, got through without any issues. Loads of cars round. But it is Daniel Michael. There's another one as well. I'm waiting for the timing tower to settle down, Kenton, but that has just been somewhat of chaos on the opening lap.
Yeah, it's those cold tires, and that first turn is it's tough to do in an F1 car, let alone in a much bigger, much less downforce NASCAR. So it's a little tricky. Definitely not the easiest turn to try and make in these guys, but for the most part, it looks like we got pretty through it. You know, a couple of little hitches and hiccups, but they got through pretty well. So. Could have been worse. Could have been much worse.
It could have been worse, but there was quite a lot of people involved in that one. Sawyer Gara off track, Alex Witt, Christian Strada, Ricardo Bennell, Noel Hannah, Sawyer Gara, Brendan McLaughlin, Gregory Sherman as well, just to name a few. Daniel Michael went off further down the line with Craig Rowe, and Sean Britt crashed and is now into the pits. Michael McElroy as well. Jordan Malcolm, Trevor Haley, Craig Rowe, and all I'm going to write on my little driver sheet is chaos. That's it.
Yeah, that definitely is a little bit of chaos, and I have a good feeling that a lot of those off tracks were happening in amongst the S's there. So the S's is probably the hardest part, one of the hardest parts of this track, because it is meant to be very fast and very flowing, but for these cars, like, you're in second gear for the most part, and then dropping down to gear 2.
Yeah.
For a good section.
Let's have a look here with Alex Witt and find out what actually happened here. Noel Hannah's on the outside. They come in and they kind of... Hannah's on the outside, and then all of a sudden, that happens. And then these guys come together further down through the S's as well. And 98 car then spins at the same time. So he's going off. Jordan Malcolm goes off as well. And everybody else, I believe, Gregory Sherman goes round. There's a couple of errors. Terry Spainhow is trying to come through as well. And Trevor Haley's in that as well. And then the 29 car doing a Tokyo drift. That's Christian Strada. Yeah, well, that went well for the beginning.
Yeah, it's yeah,
not
the ideal way to start this race. It's definitely not how you want it to go, but if you survived, you're sitting pretty almost. I know, like Daniel Michael, he's probably pretty happy that he managed to get through it fairly cleanly without too much of an issue there. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting day for a good chunk of people trying to deal with that first turn.
Kev Coleman in a double O turn goes off a little bit deep there as well. Cody Kern has got Malcolm down behind him. Alex Witt is trying to come back through the field. There's another one off there in the background. Zach Scari was off then as well. This cannot work. Surely these guys go racing down, not with a blinking car, into turn 12. But it is Alex Witt making his way back through the field as well. Cody Kern, Armand Alquist. Armand Alquist up 11. Kern up 9. Brandon McLaughlin up 13. So, yeah, it was definitely a good start for others, but a bad start for Alex Witt and Noel Hanna.
Yeah, I mean, Witt's at least starting to make up some ground. He's gotten himself back up into 9th place there. Noah Hanna a little further back down there in 16th, which is rather unfortunate, having been 1 and 2. But they're slowly making their way back up the fields, and we'll see how it goes. It's a long way to go. I mean, it doesn't sound like it with only 23 laps left, but they're long laps. Ooh. So you got lots of time. Just like we usually say, you can't win in turn 1, but you can definitely lose it. So these guys are going to have to keep their head down and just drive smart, drive consistent, and stay smooth.
Well, I'm sure that was the plan for some of them going into turn 1, but when they go round there and there's 2 cars literally coming across the track as Noel Hanna was, it makes it a little bit more difficult to control what's actually going on in front of you. As we see Armand Brousseau being tracked by Trevor Haley here currently as well. There is Kev Coleman and Alex Witt close together, Cody Kern and Armand Knoll. Andrew Alquist is also tucked up behind each other, and this is Cody Kern and Alquist. Alquist up 11, Kern up 9. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on, especially the fact that Andrew Jim Arlen has just been overtaken by Alquist. Alquist up 11 places, dude. He's absolutely flying.
Yeah, he's having a fantastic start to this race. Getting through that hairpin is always a little dicey, and he's making it look pretty smooth. And back on the throttle for that downhill section as he heads into the nice long straightaway before turn 12 there.
I think this is probably one of the opportunities where people are going to be able to make their move here this evening. It depends on how close they can get in the meantime using the draft. As we can see, Jamalin trying to go around the outside of Almquist. Almquist tightens up as he's coming to the right-hand side now. There is Almquist, there is Jamalin, there is basically Cody Kern. Is just, he looks like he's got so much more pace, but he's making so many more mistakes when he gets close to the car. And as I say that, off he goes again. But he looks quick, but he just doesn't look controlled quick. Do you know what I mean? He looks like he's fast, but he just needs to rein himself back a little bit to get control of this big burly Ford that he's sitting behind. You know, because at the moment he's dropped down to place behind Alex Witt. It's looking likely he's going to lose another place to Brendan McLaughlin here. And unfortunately for Cody Kern, although quick is great, quick and not controlled is not great. And he's proving that that's not working for him.
Yeah, and these this track with these cars, you need to be controlled. Otherwise, it will be a long day. Obviously, these corners aren't really made to be done by big cars. As Alquist just went off there. And he's unfortunately facing the wrong direction, which does make it harder to rejoin the track quickly. But yeah, it's one of those things where slow is steady, and that's how your best way of getting through here smooth and clean is. So is it, once you kind of get a rhythm going down, I mean, this S's section is all about just getting a nice rhythm, going through and getting through these hairpins, turn 1 and turn 11 there, and then even turn 12, even though it's not a true hairpin. It's all about knowing when to brake, and those are really your 3 big turning or big passing areas are turn 1, turn 11, and turn 12, because you have full speed to nothing very quickly. I think going into turn 12, you're going from 5th gear to 1st gear in these guys, so it's very heavy braking zones are where you're going to be able to pass the easiest. Trying to pull off passes on the outside of corners and stuff like that can get a little interesting. And Ross making that one real interesting as he unfortunately loses a place, and it looks like a crash back. Noah Hanna is having a day as well.
I don't know if that's Noel Hannah completely, possibly responsible for this one. As I go back to Noel, oh yes, he's just gone in way too hot on the Reese's 29, a Strada there. And unfortunately for Hannah, yeah, not a good one for him. But I'm starting to wonder if these drivers are not forgetting what they're driving, but forgetting the type of car they're driving, because these aren't F1 cars. You know, you can't do this.
There's another one. Ooh.
You know, that's going to happen. As we see Calvin Ross going around and a 99 of Trevor Haley. You know, they can't do that, can they? Because that's not going to be good for their car. You know, they can't just go around and dive up the inside and hope for the best in turn 20, because that's what's going to happen to them.
Yeah, with these cars, you really need to pull back. You really need to. Braking early in this is going to be a lot better than trying to brake late. Your average NASCAR is going to weigh a bit more than what your typical F1 car weight will be. So you're not going to have that same stopping power from these cars. I know they did go to bigger brakes for this generation of car compared to previous generations, but it still is not going to. You're not going to get that 0 or 200 miles an hour to 12 very quickly. Like it's a lot more of a gradual slowdown compared to what they're going to be kind of used to having to deal with, where you're lifting to slow down and trying to hold pace through a corner, opposed to these guys where on this track you need to come to a very heavy stop almost to make some of these corners in this kind of car.
Yeah, and I think that's where the diving up the inside, for me, just doesn't seem to want to work. As we can see, Craig Rowe just get it up the inside of Almquist, and he did it at a very slow pace. Once he managed to get the car to slow down, Rowe got through over Almquist there, but then again, he goes in a little bit hot there as well. Calvin Ross kind of follows the same line. It does remind me of drivers that are forgetting what the car can do and how it's going to perform. I don't know from their point of view. You know, you're not in an open wheeler. You haven't got wings sticking out all over the place. You don't look like you're in something that's got more hands than an octopus. You know, you're in an almost what reminds me of a house brick on wheels. Trying to pull it back from 200 miles an hour down to absolute zero is just unthinkable. You've got to be sensible. And is that why we're seeing the likes of Brandon McLaughlin be up 13 places? Because he's taking that one line, or that one consistent line, that's producing these positions on track at the moment.
For sure. And I mean, like, you can see it, like, they're doing 130 kilometers an hour through the S turns here, whereas a lot of these guys, if they've never driven this course or many road courses, that seems like a walking pace for a lot of NASCAR drivers. When you're dropping down, even he actually held that section through in gear 2. That was actually kind of interesting. But like, typically, these guys are going to be sticking around 280 for most of their drive, if not more of them, depending on the oval. Obviously, at places like we were in Daytona, you're going to be holding that even faster than that. So it's understanding how that weight transfer is going to go for you coming through into the corners, but also understanding that you're trying to slow down, as Ryan O'Connor pointed out, about 3,200 pounds worth of car. It's a lot of car to have to stop very quickly and very hard, compared to, and he even points out, an F1 car is about 1,800 pounds. Like, that's a pretty significant difference. And yeah, like you said, there's no wings to kind of keep you stuck to that ground when you're coming to these corners. Sorry,
I just saw Calvin Ross coming. And he did come from a long way back there, but has he managed to hold it or not? He's pushing Noel Hannah a little bit wide, as these guys are going off round 13 and 14, and Ross has gone
and there he goes.
Poor
Not
old Calvin
ideal,
Ross.
obviously.
No, he's going to be unhappy, I'll tell you that much. I don't want to be talking to him after this one. As turn 13 became Calvin Ross's Achilles heel. But I just, so much car to try and hit the brakes to. And you've got to be looking at a good 150, at the 150, 200 poured out before you'd even think about slamming on the brakes for these, wouldn't you?
Oh, easily. Like if for some of these hairpin turns, I would be shocked if guys aren't hitting the brakes over 200 meters from the actual corner itself. That one, maybe turn 1, not so much, just because obviously you have the added bonus of gravity to help you up because you are going uphill. You don't need to brake as aggressively because you have gravity pulling you back down the hill. But for going into turn 12, there's a little bit of a downhill aspect to it. You're gonna have to brake more, and that's something that a lot of these guys, unless they've been doing road racing, and especially on a road course like this, like Watkins Glen's, not super hilly. There are some kind of hilly sections, but it's not, 130 feet in very, very short amount of space. So kind of getting used to that and sort of understanding how to use your brakes on certain sections with certain track, I guess, layouts, like like I said, going uphill compared to braking going downhill, compared to that was tight, but they made it through.
Just, I think. I think it's another one with Trevor Haley. They're currently side by side at the moment, I believe.
And they're heading into the turn 12 here.
12. Who's, I would say, the last of the late breakers, but I'm not quite sure any of them really want to be. But they seem to have got through cleanly. Is this going to end well? As they can see, the ever-charging Noel Hanna goes in a little bit hot into the corner. Craig Rowe, there he is. I was going to say Cody Kerr was there a minute ago.
Oh, there's going to be a little tick there, yeah. I'm going to say that one was on Rowe there. He came down on that corner a little bit.
I'm sure there's 3 cars involved in this, but they're just I'm going to go to a helicopter because they're swapping places consistently. I couldn't quite get the shot of what I wanted, but this is why I don't know if this works in my eyes. Like, I might be a purist and sit back and think this can't work. Like, I just see NASCARs on ovals. Martinsville, even as short as it is still an oval. We've got green flag stops going on as well. We did say lap 8. Roundabout, we're on lap 7. So, Jordan Malcolm here. I don't know if this works. I don't know if this NASCAR perspective in my head as a European just is oval. And that's where I'm expecting it to be. I think on an oval, Kenton, I can't see this. This looks like, I don't know. It doesn't look like PB.
It's a fish out of water.
Yeah, it's not PB&J. It's more PB and chocolate spread or something. You know what I mean? It just doesn't go together. I don't know.
I'm curious if PB and chocolate spread. Now I'm kind of curious about that. Like that could be actually an interesting mix. But yeah, like it's definitely different, and I think it's kind of an interesting change for them. Like a lot of these guys, again, even Sonoma and Watkins Glen, while they are road courses, they're a little flatter, a little, not super tight corners. Whereas you're coming into this, and this is one of the tougher, more technical F1 courses, let alone NASCAR. And Daniel Michael you don't have the downforce to make that corner and do that dive up the inside super easily. So it's one of those things where you have to really know and you really have to understand how the car functions in a different setting that a lot of these guys are just not used to, which makes it even more exciting because it's, seeing guys really having to push to make things work and realizing they kind of have to pull back in a lot of spots that they wouldn't expect to have to just because of the way the car handles on things. It's definitely not a purist thing. It's definitely weird. It's definitely different, but I think it adds an element to NASCAR that allows it to kind of grow in a viewership that wasn't expected.
It's just not PB&J. I'm sorry.
It's definitely not your PB&J.
No,
it's more like, you know, your peanut butter covered chicken chicken wings.
Yeah, it's not barbecue chicken. Do you know what I mean? It's a weird concept. It is almost, I suppose, barbecue peanut butter chicken or something. I don't know. It's just not PB&J.
Surprisingly good though. If you ever have a chance to try it, chicken wings or chicken bites or whatever in peanut butter with some jam as dip, actually quite good.
Really?
Surprisingly. I tried it because I was like, well, I don't know. This sounds weird. Let's do it. Not bad. So,
all right, okay. Next time I get KFC, I'll get some poppers and dip them in peanut butter.
There you go.
See what they feel like. But this for me is a little bit out of my. I just want to see them go left. I think that's the philosophy I'm in at the moment. We are on board with Armand Brusso, who's got Calvin Ross literally 8 seconds down the road, and we've got Michael McElroy about 2 seconds in front. Now the fuel stops, we did say 8, so they are going to have to go for they're going to have to do at least one more stop. Wait, these are not V8 supercars. No, you're looking at NASCAR Cup Series, Biggles, here as well. So thank you again for joining me. But you are looking at NASCAR Cup Series. You're not looking at V8 supercars here at COTA. This is the first of 3 road circuits we're going to be on here. And we've got Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and COTA. So stay tuned here for now, because we've got Daniel Michael pressurising Brandon McLaughlin. McLaughlin's not pitted and currently sitting in second. Ricardo Bennell is going into the pits. Yes.
Yeah,
Ricardo,
looks like he's coming in.
But it does look like Brandon McLaughlin. Yeah. He did very
I was going to say, I think McLaughlin show. Ooh, Witt tried to pull up on the inside of him there. That got a little questionable.
Yeah. Alex Witt there, sorry. And Brandon McLaughlin battling it out for what is prospectively on paper second and third. Obviously McLaughlin's got to go into the pits yet. It's almost a 50-50 split on who's gone in and who has a safety car.
I was going to say, I think this is a stage 10. Yeah, I was like, what? I saw that too, caught me off guard. I was like, what happened? Right, safety car. So
stage 1.
Now, yeah, stage 1 to Daniel Michael. So
Michael, yeah.
Great job for him. And then, McLaughlin's going to have to come in here. And if he met, he's going to have to, because I think they were mentioning they closed the pits 6 laps to go. Or, sorry, 8 laps left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to go in now and then make another quick stop or beforehand. And, I mean, obviously, I would take advantage of the safety car to not lose too much time to anybody around. This is actually something entirely new for them, too, having a pit under safety car on a road course. These guys, unless they've done it before, this is going to be a very interesting and brand new kind of concept, because it's obviously they're doing only local safeties, caution flags for crashes and things like that. But yeah, the difference on pit lane in road course compared to oval course is much different.
Pit limiters on these cars?
There isn't.
No, there isn't, are there? That's what I was thinking. And I was sat there thinking, when I drove mine, there wasn't a pit limiter. I literally had to try and feather the throttle down enough to make it out that I was going to stay under the speed limit. So there isn't a limiter either. They're pitting under green. They're coming into a pit lane entrance that's got a nasty left-hand kink in it. And they're trying to do this in these big old burly machines that weigh an absolute ton. See? PB and chocolate spread, mate. PB and chocolate spread. Doesn't work.
I enjoy the change, I guess. The difference of it, the just novelty concept, and I mean, if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think it's just such an interesting concept. I mean, they did find a way to somehow manage to make it still a NASCAR, and the fact that they're going counterclockwise on this track, they only the whole thing in the end actually does still go left. compared to most F1 circuits typically go right. There are a few that go left and counterclockwise, but it does make me chuckle a little bit at that, because it's like, well, there's
they still got the left
they still
turn.
managed to find it.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. So so it is funny that they managed to do that, but it is it's an interesting concept that I think can only really help oval racing and NASCAR sort of get its own traction in other areas.
I think, let us know in chat, do you think NASCAR at COTA works, or is it your PB and chocolate spread? Because this is definitely mine here this evening with these cup cars going around COTA, having to pit twice because the fuel only lasts 8 laps. And, well, trying to stop these big burly bricks on wheels from at least 160 miles an hour down to not a lot to get through the corner. So there we go. And going to be an interesting one, I think, here tonight with basically 16 laps to go. So we are now a straight run through to race end here this evening as the pit lane has come open, and I'm pretty expecting sure everybody in his man and his dog going to go into the pits.
Yeah, I would be, I mean, maybe Daniel Michael, because I think he pit a little early, like a little later on, so he might be trying to hold it.
No, he's in. Everybody's in.
Oh, everyone's in, huh?
Yeah, everybody's in. The only one who hasn't gone in is Calvin Ross here. So I'm not quite sure what Calvin's up to. Maybe he just wants to lead a front of a race, as has Gregory Sherman. But I think Gregory Sherman has got the lucky dog to pass. So,
as you say, yeah, he was a lap down, so he's probably just getting around. He'll probably come into pit quickly after here. Yeah, that's interesting that Calvin Ross hasn't pit. The only thing I could think is, yeah, maybe he had pit already and is just kind of, you know what, it's not going to hinder me at this point, because I think he only gets, what is it, 2 tires for this as well. So if you would pit early, I mean, you could obviously tick the tires and not have to use them at all. So
I'm confused.
Or not have to have released them.
I'm confused here, right? I don't get Calvin Ross. Everybody was in the pits, yet he didn't full speed it, like not full speed it, because obviously you're on the safety car, and the safety car was miles up the road. How is he not in first? That's what I don't understand. With everybody else being in the pits round about between 38 and 45 seconds, he wasn't that far back. I don't get that. Maybe I missed something with Calvin Ross, but I was expecting him to be at the front at the moment he stayed out. Because it isn't a 45-second straight, is it, under safety car?
It should be. Depends how far back he was, but I didn't think he was that far back. Yeah, that's interesting. Unless it was telling him to drop back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or if
I don't get that.
Yeah, I could see under caution or under safety car on here. If you're a little further back, obviously it will take you a while to get around. So maybe he was a little bit more back than we expected him to be. But
maybe. I don't know. Strange one, really. Dustin Hicks keeps coming up telling me he's crashing here. But he's not actually crashing. He is still running. Spainhour is in 14th. Terry Spainhour. A little soft spot out of this grid. There, Terry, with he's got his Thunderbirds livery on tonight. Good job, buddy. Loving that. Thunderbirds a go. I'm probably sure that's not the same Thunderbirds though, because he does have Thunderbirds Carolina on the front. So I'm guessing that's in relation to a sports team.
I believe it's a hockey team.
Hockey team. Okay. There you go. Lydia, I'm sure if you can let me know if this is it a hockey team. I'm going to jump on Google. Right.
Yeah, it's a hockey team from Winston-Salem in North Carolina.
Ah, well, there you go. Thank you very much. Don't worry, Lydia. Kenton's on it. He's Googled it quicker. There we go. Calvin Ross now dropping down to 8th. I don't get how this filing's working here. Normally the first one out is the first one in the line, but I don't know. Maybe something else is going on that we're not aware of. But it is Daniel Michael up front currently. 15 to go. There's going to be one more pit stop here. Hockey team, yes. Okay. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Lydia. Let's see what Terry can do. He's currently sitting in 6th place here. Not bad for a driver with a rookie license.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
I mean, Terry's kind of showing us that despite what licenses, you have, I don't think it really matters, to be fair. It's like I rating. You can have the highest I rating in the world. It doesn't make you a good driver. So, as I've seen numerous amounts of time from people. Let's go, son, says Billy Cooper. Ooh, is that Brandon McLaughlin? That's a late dive.
I was going to say, yeah, that's an interesting time to have hopped into the pits there.
And he ain't going to make 15 get to the end. No, he's definitely not going to make 14 get to the end either, to be honest. So I think that's going to be an interesting one from these guys. See how this one pans out. 15 to go. Well, 14 to go. Are we missing something here? What is going on? Like the safety car's all the way back there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself. Like, Daniel Michael just kind of passed the safety car there.
Maybe he got.
There it goes.
Maybe he got bored. I don't know, but I'm not sure. Brandon McLaughlin's at the back. I know that because he went into the pits later than everybody else. Spainhour is now in 5th. Gari's now in 6th. Malcolm's 2nd. Brusso's 3rd. Again, Armand Brusso coming in telling us he was not expecting to be anywhere near the front and is now currently sitting in 3rd place. And then that Scari's there. Michael McElroy, Calvin Ross is in there as well. I still can't figure out why Calvin isn't at the front of the field, but I'm sure that will come after that as well. So, yeah, very bizarre situation we're in currently at the moment. Thumbs up if you like the race and want James to get a Big Mac after the race. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Don't. We did a race the other, me and Biggles did a race, 3-4 weeks ago, I think it was. Finished off the last race of the season. And then I decided, because the broadcast was at like 5 a.m. for me. So I finished the broadcast and then went down and got McDonald's breakfast for everybody in my family. It was the quickest I've ever seen them get out of bed, to be honest. When I went around telling them all I'm going to get McDonald's breakfast, they were out of bed within about 2 minutes. Normally you'd had crowbarring me kids out of bed. But yeah, once I said I was going to get McDonald's breakfast, they were all up and ready and out. So there we go. If you want to get your kids out of bed, just tell them you're going to go and buy them a McDonald's breakfast, all right? Works.
Yeah, no, I'm smoking. I got something on the smoker right now. It's getting all nice and cooked up for me.
Lovely. There's me eating my bowl of cornflakes before I come on, like, you know what I mean?
I was gonna say, yeah, but it's pretty early in the morning for you, and I'm pushing dinner time, so.
Ooh, yes, it is 1:45 a.m. Needs a Nutella and honey peanut butter sandwich. Really?
Huh.
New for me.
Honey, though. I mean, Nutella and peanut butter, I mean, that's just a Reese's Pieces. But
With the
honey.
Honey?
The honey thing is interesting.
I've never had Nutella. I swear I'm going to go and get like peanut. Oh, so there you go. Peanut butter with chocolate spread.
Yeah.
So clearly it works somewhere. McLaughlin's back in the pits. Gregory Sherman's in the pits as well now. McLaughlin must have damage. He's been in the pits for nearly 2 minutes already.
Hey, he's got something going on there.
And Biggles has asked, is it kangaroo ribs, Kenton?
Kangaroo ribs. Oh, there's the Aussie. No, I'm doing a mini smoker, so it's mini sausages and mini meatballs and things like that. Just a bunch of mini, smaller things all into one tin with a bunch of barbecue sauce. And funny enough, actually, grape jelly was the suggested recipe I had. So it's grape jelly and some chili sauce, and I'm curious how it's going to turn out. We're going to find out.
Wow.
Haven't made it before, so.
Well, if Kenton's not here next week, everybody, you know it didn't go well.
Exactly.
Right, is there a safety car going in? The lights have been out for about a lap. I'm expecting it to dive in. There we go. All right, so Daniel Michael is going to lead us away here.
Now, see, I'm curious if he pulls out an F1 style restart here of the safety car, back everybody up and then just take off.
Yeah, see, I would have thought he would have been gone by now because we don't have a restart zone. So it is literally a full blow. There he goes, he's gone. Daniel Michael is leading away. Jordan Malcolm now in second. Armand Brousseau third. Sean Britt. It's going to be Malcolm in turn one as they're coming up the hill on that steep incline. Are they going to make it through? Both cleanly. Yes, Brousseau went a very deep line. So did David Michael. Michael is through up front, and there is more of the same. On 13 to go here. And it looked like there was more of the same there from people. And it started off, unfortunately, what looks like this man. There we go, Noel Hanna. Through turn one. Oh, car 83.
Yeah, the 83 kind of came across his nose. It reminds me a little bit of the George Russell into Carlos Sainz, I believe it was, in the F1 race of this past year.
How was that possible?
Russell's. Which part? Similar?
This part.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ooh, what is going on here? Oh, he just lost it. Yeah, it looks like he accelerated too quick, and his tires obviously being a little cold caused him to spin out on that, so not ideal.
Oh, Terry! Oh!
Finds the wall there.
Spainhour in the wall. Oh, he was up in fourth place as well. He was flying. Poor old Terry Spainhour. Into the wall he goes as we've got 13 to go. Here from COTA, after the restart, we've got Calvin Ross under pressure from Armand Brousseau. He's made his way up through the field as well. Dustin Hicks is another man that looks like cannot get to grips with the acceleration of this car. Who's gone round there as well, lost a position to Spainhour, and now Witt is making up moves, coming up to the back of Calvin Ross, and there's a battle here. Muscari, Cody Kern. Oh, Kern! Control! Oh,
that's so nice. Yeah, he managed to hold that corner pretty well. A little bit of bullying his way up there, but hey, getting a little close there. A little spicy as Alex Witt goes past Calvin Ross. Witt seems to have fantastic pace here today. He's definitely looking good.
Craig Rowe now going past us here. Is Rowe going to hold it on turn one? He is. Since Kev Coleman behind him, but up front we've got Calvin Ross, who's got Noel Hanna behind him. Noel has not been shy of getting involved, or being involved, I should say, of incidents. Jamal and Brousseau, Ricardo Beno, and Christian Strada here as well, as his pack of four beasts coming through this tricky S's section on this run down from turn 9 to turn 10 very, very shortly before they come into 11 here as well. Sawyer Gara jumping over the curb there. Jamaling trying to go around the outside line currently at the moment. Here we go, and he made the move stick. Can he hold it going into 11? That's going to be the tricky section. Oh, there's another send back here. Massive Christian Strada.
Yep.
Saw that coming. Literally, he was already out of line coming into the corner. He was coming from a long way, mind you, as well.
Yeah, you're those sausage curve. He caught on that one, and then he just didn't slow down in time.
You're never gonna do that, and that's into the 392 car, unfortunately, there as well. So yeah, that was never gonna happen here for Christian Strada. Craig Rowe, Kevin Malcolm, Aaron Brousseau. Oh, Brousseau and Malcolm. man. Oh no, it's Coleman, sorry. Brusso and Coleman. Now Brusso and Bennell going at it as well.
It's tough to drive, like, a lot of these cars in these sections going too wide is a little questionable. It's a little tight. You know, they don't quite have that downforce to keep them nice and nimble going into corners. So trying to cut inside of guys can get a lot more interesting on some corners, but somehow made that one work there.
Oh man, Armor Brusso, Trevor Haley there. That was definitely not looking like it was going to be a good one. And just for Billy Cooper, who's just come in and asked about Terry Spainhour, this is what happened to Terry. This looks like we're one of the first parts. Yep, that was number one. Then he keeps going, I believe. And then it's going to have another difficult section coming up. So looks like Terry has had a bit of a rough time over the last 2 laps there. He just slows right down here, trying to get through.
Hit the sausage curb.
Hit the sausage curb. And unfortunately for Terry, not how to do that. Craig Rowe battling out, Ricardo Bennell, Cody Kern up front. Calvin Ross looks like he's just seen an extra part of the race circuit. There at the top part, we've got 11 laps to go. All the way through now, Ricardo Bennell and Craig Rowe side by side on this run down from turn 11 right the way down into 12. Who's going to make this move at the end? They're all the way over on, well, is it even on track now?
Technically, yeah. It still is, so they have an AstroTurf kind of material down there that you can actually drive on.
Isn't it 4 wheels over the side?
Nope, not here. It's only really in the S's that it's a concern.
Yeah, but surely that's
otherwise, if it's good.
Sorry, is that not
for these guys?
Not registering an off track then?
Nope.
Because at the moment for me, Ricardo Bennell, right, is on 58 off tracks.
Ooh. 58 off tracks? That's
No,
a lot of off tracks.
According to my timing system, that's what he's got. Sawyer Gara's got the least on 7. No worries, Billy. Sorry to not bring you happy news of my boy Terry Spainhour there, but unfortunately I showed you what he's been up to.
Yeah, maybe they are on this track showing it. It looks like Calvin Ross is diving into the pits here as well.
And to go.
I guess, yeah, a lot of these guys are probably going to start to pit now so they can try and hold on to that last kind of sector, last fuel stint there, so they're not too worried about getting too close with running out of fuel coming into the final few laps here.
Yeah, McElroy there as well, lap 15. On turn 19 went round there as well. Craig Rowe is under attack from Trevor Haley as these guys go weaving through the S's section currently at the moment. They are coming up through turn 8. And then to the left-hander, but what will lead them round to 9. There we go. Through they go. And on this rundown now, Craig Rowe being chased down by Trevor Haley. Cody Kern has got Ricardo Bennell right behind him currently at the moment. We've got 10 laps here. We expect one more pit stop, Kenton. When are we looking at, do you reckon?
I'd say probably in the next couple laps here. If they are closing pit lane at 8 laps to go, I'd say you're going to want to dive in. If not this lap, then with 9 to go, I don't think you want to push it to the to that 8 laps to go kind of thing, and that have it come in on the last one. Get it done now and hope you can make up whatever time you end up losing in the pits. On the track there.
Yeah, Bennell's just driven around the outside of Cody Kern. No, the contact, that's where they are. They're round at turn 15. That was the contact between Bennell and Kern. So we'll see how that one gets on. We've got Jordan Malcolm, with Daniel Michael behind him. This guy's coming into turn 1. And then Trevor Haley, Craig Rowe battling out Christian Strada, Terry Spainhour. Strada, of course, there was involved in the incident where him and him and one more. Strada went into the side, unfortunately for him. Spainhour loses the position to Strada. Kern and Rowe battling away here as well. There's a big send from car number 99. Woo! Wow. Trevor Haley sent that right through the eye of the middle there. And now we go back up front with Jordan Malcolm and Daniel Michael here. 9 to go, Kenton. 9 to go.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if you don't start seeing guys come in here. Yeah, it looks like Almquist just hopped into is in the pits as well. I mean, Michael, I'd be surprised if he didn't. He's got a pretty sizable lead there. Ahead of him behind. Looks like Britt's trying to make a move on the inside of Malcolm here. Tough spot to have made one, yeah. Almost got real touchy.
Yeah, he missed his nose. Well, his nose missed the back end there by inches, I think. Absolute inches in that Looney Tunes livery. Quality from Jordan Malcolm. Yeah, I think we should start seeing the people into the pits very, very shortly. As you say, you'd be very surprised if they don't, because obviously with the pit window with 8 to go.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. It doesn't look like Daniel Michael is hopping into the pits on this one here. So maybe, I guess they're going to push it to lap 8 and hope that everyone else kind of does, because don't want to run out of fuel. And based on what we've been told, that a stint's about 8 laps-ish, you're going to want to get some pretty quick.
Yeah, Sean Britt is in. He's decided he's not taking that chance. But surely they must be sitting there thinking, well, actually, I can make this. Because obviously they got crew chief and whatever else telling them how much fuel they got left as Cody Kerr dives in as well. That releases Dustin Hicks past him, Sawyer Geyer. Sean Britt is dropping down the order. Pit stops round about 45 seconds, give or take by the time they get out. Sean Britt 42.05, so give or take a few seconds there as well. But Sawyer Geyer coming up to the back of Ricardo Benel. Ricardo does look quick. I'm a bit worried about the 71 off tracks that I'm being shown here, but that can't be right. Surely he hasn't done that many.
I mean, that S's section, each corner can be an off track pretty easily if you're hitting it wrong, or you just get a little too inside. Like, I don't know if that was in there. It looked like he had at least a couple tires on there, but it also depends on how iRacing decides that they want to sort of police it themselves, because I know some places where I was seeing guys drive in the IRL version, and when I would try it on iRacing, I'd get an off track. So some places are a little touchier than I think they're meant to be, but
yeah, they try and go for this limit of 2 tires, don't they? And like, that is off. That to me
that's
is off.
Yeah, and very off on that next corner.
Yeah.
But he pulled it off quite nicely. I'll give him the slide worked. Not sure how, but he managed to not lose too much there. And actually, I don't even think he's going to end up losing a place at all. No, that's impressive.
No, Gara went completely wide as well. But that, to me, 10 out of 10 for the drift light. But you've got to be looking at, you are going to be off track, I think.
I would say one or two there, yeah.
Yeah, Malcolm's going round again. He's now just taken the lead. So was the pits closing 8 to go?
That's what we were told, but maybe I guess it depends.
Maybe we misunderstood that. I don't know.
Yeah, because Daniel Michael has come in. We've got Ricardo. He's come in now. Haley has come in.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, yeah. So, wonder if they didn't give that information to a driver or two that was not informed of this beforehand. Ooh. He was in the wrong pit box. That's gonna cost him.
Maybe, yeah. Alex Witt's out front with Jordan Malcolm. 7 laps to go.
That
here.
we do know.
That we do know. 7 laps to go here as well. We've got Alex Witt out in front, Jordan Malcolm in second, Noel Hanna third, Daniel Michael fourth, Andrew Jamalin in fifth, Sawyer Gara sixth, Sean Britt seventh, Dustin Hicks and Trevor Haley coming out the pits. Just come out the pits together. They're all battling away. Hicks, Kern, Haley and McElroy. No, Coleman, Hicks, Kern, Haley. So there we go. These 4 are going to be towards at each other by the time they come to the last 7, which is what they're on now here from COTA. And if you're not a fan, we do head back to a night race at Nashville Speedway on February 7th, so in a week's time. So stay tuned for that one, because I think that's going to be epic. Right.
Yeah, Nashville's a pretty interesting track, so that'll be a lot of fun.
It should be a lot of fun to look at. You know, again, it's something completely different to here, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It is. It'll be a little bit closer, if I remember correctly, to kind of that Dover-esque build without being Dover problems.
It almost reminds, as you see a couple of cars go off track there, it almost reminds me of a squashed up Charlotte.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's got that tri-oval feel, but then it looks like it's just been narrowed. It looks like somebody's taken Charlotte or Daytona on the tri-oval, and they've just kind of got the outsides and squished him in a bit here. You know what I mean? It's too wide.
Yeah.
Let's push it in a bit. You know?
Yeah. And it's less than it's about a half mile, so a lot shorter too. It'll be kind of that little bit towards the short track end of things. So these cars on that will be quite interesting.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. 6 to go here as well. This is your battle for Cody Kern and Trevor Haley. Surprised they're not jumping in, I've got to be honest. Kevin Coleman's just gone in behind him. See how these guys pan this out. Is Haley going to be making this move down into turn 1? You see him now running up the hill. He's got to be going for it. Surely no. I thought he might have had a go then, Kenton, to be honest. He looked like he was close enough.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he goes close enough. Next thing we know, NASCAR will be asking to get some DRS on those cars so they can make that turn.
Maybe.
Get really dive right into the Grand Prix style.
Oh, Trevor Haley taking a big bump there on that car and managing to hold it. But boy, oh boy, did he look like he was going to fly out on that one there as well. Kev Coleman, Calvin Ross. Kev just looks like he's come out of the pits, to be honest, which he did do. And then Calvin Ross is coming right beside him currently at the moment. Cody Kern, Trevor Haley here. Coming down now into the turn 11. So, as you can see him now on this run down into 12. 6 to go. Jordan Malcolm's now in the pits. Michael should retake the lead. We'll see Haley. I just want to let Haley and Kern play out. And then Michael is going to take the lead here. 5 to go, Kenton. 5 to go.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race. Like we said, there's a lot of bumping and things like that, but could have been pretty clean so far, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, apart from, lap 1 where I just wrote chaos on my little bit of paper where I take my notes on.
Yeah. Outside of the chaos lap, it's been pretty good. Like,
do you think the drivers are going to want to get back to an oval?
I know I would. Personally, I think that's kind of the nice thing with road courses is they're not as frequent. I think we've got the 3 this year, but you've got we had 3 races before a road race, another 2 before the next one, and then it looks like, what's that, 5, I believe it is, 6 till Watkins Glen, maybe 7
2,
after
3,
the
4,
Sonoma.
5, 6, 6. Watkins Glen is technically the 7th circuit.
Yeah, so like you get kind of a break afterwards, so I think it's not necessarily if it was all 3 in a row, then yeah, I could see them being like, no, we need to get out of this now. But I think having one and then a little bit of a break back to kind of more standard oval stuff, it's kind of a nice sort of break from the oval in a sense, give you something a little different to do before hopping right back into it and doing it again.
Would you want to be going to Nashville though after doing this?
No. Nashville looks like it's going to be, I wouldn't say Dover in this, how many cautions we had, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one. The 18 degree bank corners at Nashville are pretty steep, but the straights are down to I believe it's about 3 degrees, so not quite as aggressive as Dover, but still pretty fast. It'll be I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll definitely be a nice return to normalcy for these guys before they start getting prepped for Sonoma road course, but more typical, I guess.
Keeping an eye here with Dustin Hicks and Trevor Haley. They've been close quite a few times as we go into 4 to go. So let's see how this one pans out for these guys. This is your battle on track for 8th and 9th currently at the moment. Terry Spano is down in 19th. He's still going. So Terry down in 19th place there. Every lap is a little bit more practice being able to control this car, but it is, as I say, on a road circuit. So before Craig Rowe, go back here and see how Rowe's going to do. Is Hicks going to be looking at trying to jump? Oh, hold up. That was a very aggressive move.
What does it look? Whoa, there we go. That's unfortunate for Hicks there, as it looked like, was that Cody Kern got a little...
Hicks and Craig Rowe.
Or Rowe. So yeah, that was Rowe Cody's coming up now. There's Cody. But yeah, Rowe getting a little loose into the side of Hicks as he's trying to rejoin there. That's not the best way to get back into it, but I have to re-enter the track, but still moving forward.
Only just.
This guy's...
There.
No,
Mr. Gentleman. No.
Yeah, it's not the best way to rejoin.
No, it's definitely not. It just coming down now, I think it's definitely not a good way of doing this in general. It gets out of shape around the last corner, and then we got this run up into turn 1. That move there was a little bit bizarre, first hand.
Trying to do the old switchback, but went to the wrong switch.
Yeah, we managed to see Hicks got past, and then that. Yeah.
Yeah, he just didn't go from the off track and back onto it very safely, I guess. It could be a questionable thing, but we'll see how it goes.
I like the term safely.
Yes.
Or as a youngster taught me the other day, last Saturday in the charity event, he went and did an oopsie. Yes, he did, youngster.
Oopsie, yes.
He went and did an oopsie. So Craig Rowe there. Yeah, sure someone might look at that, I've got to be honest, but here we go. Dustin Hicks, Cody Kern. Hicks, of course, was the victim of that with Rowe. So now he's got Cody Kern for company. Cody looked generally quick, didn't we, as the race went on? We were talking about the control of these cars. It didn't look a very controlled speed, but he looked fast in general. So I think here is going to be an interesting one. Oh, well, that's There we go. More controlled there as well. So hopefully these guys will get through, as we have got 3 to go, soon to be 2. As our leader is coming around turn 13 and 14. He is in traffic, mind you. He's coming up to lap 18th and 19th, 18th and 17th place, which is McElroy and Strada here tonight. But it's been an interesting one, Kenton, hasn't it? From our point of view up in the booth.
Definitely has been. I know we weren't exactly expecting pack racing, but the track, I mean, they spread out quite a bit. I wasn't quite expecting it to be this spread out. I think it's a little more than I was anticipating for them to be separated, but I mean, you know, from first to fourth is quite a wide gap. But I mean, it kind of is what lends itself to this. I mean, Michael, he got, I don't want to say lucky because he's driven fantastic all day, but having Witt and Noel Hanna take each other out turn 1, lap 1 definitely played into his favor a lot more, as he was able to kind of just get right through there and have a lot of clean air sort of behind him and a pretty solid buffer that he didn't have to worry about too much. You know, like I said, I don't think it's luck that he's doing as well as he is, but it definitely has been unfortunate for a lot of guys, and he's just kind of taken the opportunity and run with it and not slowed down at all.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. He's kind of just done what he needs to do, doesn't it, there as well. Terry Spainhouse Sr. is in YouTube chat. Terry's dad, this is Terry's dad telling him to keep his head up, keep his head high. These cars are not meant for this. LOL. I told you. PB and chocolate spread. PB and chocolate spread doesn't work. I agree with you, Mr. Spainhour, sir. This doesn't work for me either. It just doesn't work. You're so used to seeing them go around ovals that this on a road circuit just doesn't work. So I fully agree with you there as well. So I'm not the only one. Kenton either. That's it. Mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely not made for it. Or, you know, it's not necessarily their cup of tea for these cars, but it's, like I said, it's a different thing. It's a change. It's a step away from the norm.
Yeah. Like Sonoma's going to be. How?
Sonoma will be, but it's not as much of a Grand Prix. Like, they even referred to this race during the 2022 season as the NASCAR Grand Prix. They didn't consider it a NASCAR, like they just call it the this, that, or the next thing race. I think for this last one, it was in Texas. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but they call it the 2022 Texas Grand Prix. So it wasn't even considered a typical race for them, which was kind of an interesting change.
Ooh, Dustin Hicks. Ouch. Well, if somebody's going to do it to me, I'm going to do it to others. And boy, oh boy, did he just do it to Cody Kern there on the final lap of the race here this evening as well, with Daniel Michael still out in front, coming around turn 10, down to 11. Well, that was just unforgiving, Kern.
That was...
I don't really know what that was, but Cody Kern here, as we can see, Kern is in the 23, Hicks, sorry, in the 85. And then just,
I'm not sure if Hicks didn't brake soon enough, or he wasn't expecting Kern to brake when he did, and it just caught him off guard. I
don't know.
Not quite sure on that one.
No, as we see Daniel Michael coming round now. He is on his way round turn 13 and 14 here this evening. Take it steady, son. You've still got a few more corners to go. 14 and 15 now. Look how slow they are. It's just nothing there. There's no grip. It's wiggling all over the place. off at round 17 and 18 now before he goes down into turn 19. Daniel Michael for the final time having to battle the road course of COTA is going to come across the line and take your victory. Comes around in turn 20. Well, I think from his point of view, he's probably relieved. But here we go, Barney on the on the right hand side waving. It's going to be Daniel Michael taking your victory here tonight, and he does do, with Alex Witt in second place and Sean Britt in third there as well. Nawahana going to finish over in fourth, with Jordan Malcolm eventually getting there in fifth place as well. Andrew Jamalin going to come across the line in sixth. Sawyer Gara is a long way back at the moment. He's coming around turn 18. There's quite a large spread on this field, isn't there, really? They're literally all around the track, Kenton, I think.
Yeah, it's not a very close group. It's everywhere. You still have guys all the way back till, the straightaway coming out towards turn 12. It was a very spread out race today.
Yeah, it definitely was there. Some people, Kev Coleman, still battling here. They're coming round turn 13 currently. 13 and 14. So this could be an interesting one that could run down towards the end. Craig Rowe finishes in front of Hicks. Thought there might be a conversation there, I've got to be honest, but there we go. No PB&J. No, this isn't PB&J. So this is more PB and chocolate spread. It just doesn't wash down with a nice bottle of iced tea or something. Benno just passed Coleman there at the end. Oh, Ricardo Benno comes across the line in 14th. Kevin Coleman in 15th. Armor Brusso there in 16th. Christian Strada chugging. He is chugging.
Did he run out of fuel?
Yeah, he's chugging.
Oh, he did too.
Is he going to make it? The line is literally just there. Go, push. He did. He did as well, because the line is at the beginning there of the track map. You can see the red line. He did, and he ain't going to go no further, Christian Strada. So if you're ever going to cut it close, I guess, young sir, that's about as close as you can get it. So
yeah, no kidding.
There we go. Wow, what a very, well, I don't know really. It was an all right race, I think. But nothing to shout home about, I suppose. But there you go, Kenton. The names are on your screen. Why don't you read them out for us?
Sounds good. Yeah. So in first place we had Daniel Michael. In second, Alex Witt. In third, Sean Britt. Fourth was Noel Hanna. I always get his name wrong. Fifth was Jordan Malcolm. Sixth was Andrew Jamalin. Seventh was Jamalin.
I don't know. Jessica, if you can let us know, is it Jamalin, or Jamalin? Or are we just saying it completely wrong? Anyway, sorry, Karen.
Or are we horribly wrong?
Yeah.
And then Sawyer Gara in 7th, Trevor Haley in 8th, Craig Rowe in 9th, Dustin Hicks 10th, Cody Kern 11th, Andrew Holmquist in 12th, Calvin Ross 13th, Ricardo Bernal in 14th, Kevin Coleman 15th, Armand Brusso in 16th, Christian Strader in 17th, Michael McElroy in 18th, Brendan McLaughlin in 19th, Terry Spainhour in 20th, Zach Scary in 21st, and Gregory Sherman in 22nd.
Jessica says the second way.
No, now I'm trying to remember what the second way was.
Jamalin,
right.
I think.
Got it.
Okay. Got it. Right. There we go, Kenton. We have got 3 people lined up for interviews this evening. Why don't you take it away with the young gentleman, and you can give them an interview this week.
Sounds good.
So I am going to bring in young third place man, Sean Britt. Over to you.
Sean, congratulations on third place there. How did it feel going from ovals to this interesting circuit for these NASCARs to go around?
It felt pretty interesting, especially at COTA. COTA is a very weird track that NASCAR decided to go to since 2021, but it just takes a decent amount of skill and effort to run at this track.
For sure. How did you find navigating through a little bit of the carnage that seemed to kind of never really stop? Obviously, turn 1, lap 1, there was the front group kind of had a little bit of trouble getting through. How did you find kind of working your way through both, traffic and a little bit of the spins and things like that?
Well, funny enough, I actually was involved in the first wreck, so it was kind of surprising to having to work and claw my way back up to getting third. Definitely the having to go and tow back and get fuel and repair my car, that helped me to get to the end and be able to stay up, so I was able to get there. Yeah, just had to had to do a lot of clawing my way back up.
Well, you definitely clawed your way back up and got yourself a nice third, and it definitely seemed a little easier on yourself than the last time we spoke to you in the booth there. So it definitely seemed like a better day for you overall.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll say thanks to my teammates, Michael McElroy, Zach. But Josh didn't race today. It was interesting for him not to race, but hopefully we'll have Josh back with us next week. We're going to be racing at Nashville, isn't it?
Yeah, Nashville will be next week for the Nashville Fairgrounds. Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us there, and have yourself an enjoyable rest of your day.
Yep, you too.
Right, there we go. That was Sean Britt, and let's bring in second place man Alex Whip for you, Kenton.
Alex, fantastic race for you, finishing in second. Congratulations. How did you find it battling your way back up from pole to dropping down? I believe you were in 11th at 10th at one point, and then battled your way back up into second. How did you find that going?
Yeah, it was definitely a slog. I'm certainly not happy with it. Made plenty of mistakes this race, so it was good to at least get back up that far.
That was good. And do you know really what happened? Was it just trying to keep the inside lane going through turn 1, or unfortunate cold tires?
I got cleared by crew chief, so I assumed I would be good tracking out, and that was kind of a blind spot there, so I didn't know he was there, so tracked down into him.
Fair enough. Yeah, crew chief, that spotter sometimes just not always accurate. Hey, that's they'll get under you a little bit. But overall, I mean, fantastic race. How did you feel taking these NASCARs, these much heavier vehicles than the typical F1 car we see on this track? How did it feel for you driving around here?
Yeah, certainly not my favorite. It's tricky to get it through those S's and through all the turns pretty much. I mean, the car's a handful, so felt good to at least get second with it there. Not my best track.
May not be the best track, but you definitely drove a fantastic race. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out the Breakfast Club.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on in, and have yourself a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. We got Daniel, Michael, your Victor for you, Kenton. There you go.
So Daniel, how did it feel getting a W out of that on a very tough track for these cars to get around?
It felt good. I I really wanted that after last week's disappointment. After I butchered it in the last few laps, and I I kind of dominated, but it was more because of the mistakes of other drivers. It wasn't purely out of my own speed, so I do have to work on that. But it was a good race. I had a lot of fun. I don't really like COTA, but it's hit or miss for me. I either win or I have something go wrong. So
Well, then we're glad you got in on a win version of COTA this week. Yeah, it seemed like you kind of were not necessarily gifted first right off turn one, but it kind of fell into your lap a little bit, just avoiding those collisions. Was that kind of made you happy? You kind of could get some space and get going, or would you have preferred everything kind of stayed status quo and then gotten the win later on?
I actually would have preferred to have had a really good battle with Alex. I know that he's pretty fast, and we were about even in practice in terms of in long runs. Although I will admit, I think he had me bested on it. But after the lap one incident in turn one, my right front wheel got pushed up, so my wheel started to move a bit to the right. It was about 20 degrees to the right. So I was struggling with that up until the caution. And so when the caution came, I just came in, got my stuff repaired. I was on my way. I was hoping to build myself a little gap, and that's what I was able to do.
Fantastic. Yeah, you had a phenomenal race there. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
All my friends, everyone that's watching, just the usual. You guys especially. I mean, a road car, so the cup cars, it's pretty hard to find all the battles, and you guys seem to be doing a really good job. And from what I've heard, it was a great broadcast.
Well, we appreciate it, and congratulations once again on the win there, and we will see you next week in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
All right, so there we go. Everybody's a little, quite upbeat considering it was a road course. As Mr. Spainhour Senior says, these weren't made for this. And Jessica said, nope, the second way. Then we said, nope, and then she went the first way. And then wrote Jamalin. Jamalin. Jamalin?
Jamalin. 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 There we go. It was Jamalin.
Have you just Googled that and put it through your microphone or something? Just heard how she pronounces it?
No, I'm just based on her phonetical way of answering it. Jamalin.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
All right, well.
I think we got it now. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But there you go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, as always, for the normals. Lydia, Biggles jumping in earlier. Billy Cooper, Mr. Spainhour Senior, sir, thank you so much for joining us as well. Soyerman as well. That Sawyer guy had the least incidents. What a safe driver. I'm presuming that is you, Sawyer Gara. I might be English, but I do watch a lot of detective programs. I've got it. I've got you. Don't you worry about that. And of course, Jess joining us as well. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us this evening. We're on back to normality next week at Nashville. I know it's an oval, and that's all that matters. I'm happy. You know what I mean? So for myself and Kenton Sportak, you all take care. Have a great week. And you never know. Might see you on the track sometime. Good night.